Good very well. Okay, we're closing from where we stopped yesterday on our book reading Advanced Selling Strategy by Brian Tracy. I was in chapter 8, which says prospecting, filling your sales pipeline. Where we stopped yesterday was telling us where and how to locate our customers. This video will continue on page 266, which says we also read when does my customers buy. Today we'll be looking at who are my competitors. Okay, so who is my competitor? Who am I selling against? Who does my customers consider as an alternative to my product or service? When I lose a sales to competitor, why does it happen? Why does a prospect select my competitor? A competing product or service over mine? What does he or she perceive to be doing differently and better? Thomas J. Watson Jr., former president of IBM, once said, "We don't mind if people make mistakes at IBM. There's nothing wrong with that. But to make the same mistake over and over again without finding out why is unforgivable." Here's a strategy for you. If you lose a sales to a competitor, wait for 3 or 4 weeks, then go back to the customer and very politely ask him why it was he chose your competitor over yourself. Be low-key, polite and curious. If possible, examine the competitor's product or service and compare it with your own. Rather than being confrontational, instead, put yourself in the customer's shoe and attempt to see the buying decision from the customer's point of view. When Chrysler was going through its financial problems in the early 1980s, Lee Iacocca brought Japanese vehicle, renowned for their quality onto the factory floor throughout the company. The Chrysler auto workers were invited to inspect them carefully and told that these were what they had to compete against to save the company. Many of the auto workers had never taken a close look at a Japanese car and were amazed at how well made they were. They realized for the first time the basis for objections dealers were getting about Chrysler products. That began a quality revolution at Chrysler that goes on to these days. What are the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors' products? How are they better than yours? What needs do they satisfy for the customers that yours do not or do not appear to? What are your competitors' weaknesses? How could you downplay or neutralize their strong points while emphasizing or pointing out their weak areas? Most of all, how could you position your product and service in such a way that the areas where your product is better become the most important consideration in the buying decision? The customer is always right. The customer makes his decision based on his perception of what is best for him. Your job is to show your prospect that there may be more than one version of what is best for him. You must show your prospect that there are other areas of importance to consider. Your job is to shift the emphasis of the decision onto the areas where your product or service is superior to that of your competitors. Your need is to position yourself as the best choice, given all the various factors involved in the overall buying decision and from the very beginning where you are prospecting. You need to know who and what your prospects might also be considering. Okay, we'll stop here for our reading today. See who is my competitor. So it is better to know who your competitors are, know who you're selling against, know why your customers will choose them as an alternative, and you lose sale to them. So what happens? What are those things that trigger your customers to buy from another person aside from you. Whether it is product or services, find out your strength and your weakness, and find out where you need to change, make a change. So since the saying goes that a customer is always right, that the customer makes, so it is better we know that the customer makes his or her decision based on the perception of what is best for him. So your job as a salesperson is to actually show that customer, actually show that prospect that there is more to, and there are so many things to what you have to offer to him, and you're going to give him the best service or product that he considers as important in his life. So you can also shift the mind of your prospect or your customers to the fact that your services or your products are superior to that of your competitors, and also position yourself in terms of sales presentation that you're the best person that they could ever do business with. So once you begin to let them know these things, you put yourself and try to change their buying decision. So that is all for reading to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not the same.